Hello and welcome to Bosch Professional Live UK. I'm Chris.
And I'm Danny. And the discombobulated head has now been recombobulated and put onto Ollie, who's doing our Q&A today. So, here you go.
Oh yeah, that's right. Hello.
Pick
Pick a camera, any camera.
Not
So I'm going to get everything wrong today because I'm going to be juggling like 5 different things. So chuck your questions at me and I'll try my best to read them and answer them for you. So back to you guys. Cool. Right. Well, thanks, Ollie. So Danny, I think everyone already knows what today's episode is going to be about. We've had some quite positive feedback already. Some people saying they didn't even know that this existed as a category.
No, not at all. And actual fact, we have done a live stream on this before when our category here was quite new.
That's right, yes. So today's live stream is looking at our, well, I'm going to say brand new, because technically these are a brand new range of tools. So we'll say our brand new industrial range of power tools. However, it's important to point out this isn't the first time that Bosch has been involved in production tools.
Certainly not.
No. So we'll cover that in a little bit of detail to explain where we've come from and the justification on what these tools are designed for, who they're designed for, and perhaps maybe we will find some good case studies and good examples of how these tools might be useful for you if you're in a certain type of, well, I can't say trade really. This is really looking at people that are in assembly, construction. However, we are going to be pointing out things like new technologies like solar, for example. These might be critical for you to do, I'm not even going to say a better job. In order for you to do your job correctly, these might be a great option for you.
Well, actually, I was thinking about this earlier. You've got obviously the birth of Etsy now, where you've obviously got people making things and selling them online. Something like this, if you have to make something that's torque specific, or you want a consistent torque of tightening of something, then even something simple as like these 2 machines here may be useful for you as well.
That's right, yes. So if you haven't seen the previous live stream, feel free to watch that one, because that's the live stream in which Dan and I go into quite a lot of depth in regards to how you can define tightness, how you can measure tightness, and how you can ensure that you're not over tightening something to such a degree
that it becomes loose.
Becomes not tight,
not tight, loose,
otherwise known as loose.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So before we get started, I think we'll see, Ollie, who have we got? We got any of our regulars? I'm sure we do already.
Oh yeah, we've got a load of people already in the chat. Nat Bug, I believe, is this his first one? Yeah, it's his first live stream he's managed to catch, so welcome. PF is here as always. It's good to see you. And there's some debate in the chat whether you guys are artificial or not. Are you real?
Well, I am. We're not too sure about you, Chris, are we?
I have a superior artificial intelligence.
You can believe that if you like. Yeah.
Superior is up for debate, but maybe.
But either way, we're not replaceable with AI. It's not possible, is it? No one can be this neurotic.
That's right. And we already know that AI doesn't do a very good job of innuendo.
No.
Or below the bar humour, and I am expert.
Yes.
Yes, so for the time being, we're still here. In the next couple of months, we are going to be really fortunate that we'll be upping and relocating to our new training facility, including our new state-of-the-art studio. I say state-of-the-art. At the moment, it's massive yet empty.
Yes.
But it shall slowly but surely, if Ollie's got anything to do with it, be filled with lots of high-tech technology, and then we're going to go in and make lots of dust and damage it all.
Yeah, mess.
Absolutely. So,
but we will have to do another workshop tour, because that studio doesn't just come as a studio. It's got a whole new training centre attached to it as well.
That's right. So that is going to be worth staying tuned for.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so topic done. Let's get started, shall we? I think we've, as always, if you're new to the live stream, you're already aware that typically my job is to filibuster, to give some of the late starters a bit of time to join us, because we know you all can't start bang on time like us, and give you guys a little bit of time to get in from work, put a cuppa on, get sat down and comfy, because as always, we don't like to do things quickly or easily here.
As we recently found out as well, a lot of our viewers do like to watch the live streams in front of their families as well. So we'd like to say hello and sorry to all of the partners out there who have been forced to watch this.
Hey, the families love this. Absolutely. They're going to love this live stream as well, because we're going to be talking about our industrial tools, extra precise, tight, torque tolerant tools.
Yep.
But let's do a little bit of framing first. In that previous live stream where we talked about, again, the whole principle of tightness, we explained that there is already and has been a well-established range of, let's not use the word professional here, we're talking about industrial power tools. Okay?
Very, very specialist.
We're going to use it throughout the rest of this live stream, calling things IW, and that's what we're referring to, these industrial tools. Now, there are going to be tools that are in the Bosch Rexroth range, and they're up in the tens of thousands for the tools. They're multiple, they're £1,000 tools at least, and then you need to have a quite complex, but also quite expensive, but very sophisticated control unit that controls all these tools. Okay, we also have exact tools. So I think I'm going to conjure one up between us. We've got an example of an exact tool here, Ollie, of the kind of thing that we would refer to when we're saying an exact tool. Here's a good example of one. We've got plenty of these types of pistols. We've also got longer ones, for example, different types of designs.
Is that AI?
This is a figment of your imagination.
Close to AI as we're going to get.
Yeah, so we have obviously had some examples on the last live stream, but today we're going to focus predominantly on these new categories of tools. So let's frame it up a little bit more, just so you can understand where we're coming to. And yeah, get rid of that. So when it comes to manufacturing and assembly, typically speaking, there are 3 categories.
Yes. So category A is your really, really high torque tolerance, like fear of death, life and limb.
Life and limb. So think of making sure you're fastening an aeroplane wing on correctly.
Exactly.
Because if that wing fails, you have a bad day.
Well, someone's going to have a bad day.
You can have a permanently bad day, unfortunately, as macabre as it sounds. So yes, life and limbs are really critical.
Yes.
So when you're dealing with a category A tool, there's a number of things that have to be accounted for, especially when you're doing the fixing. On a tool specific side, then you need to be measuring 2 parameters, and they have to be measured directly by the tool. That could be, typically is going to be the torque, and also you might need to know what's called positioning or angle.
Yeah.
Okay, so those both have to be recorded, because that fixing has to be absolutely exactly as per specified. Otherwise,
and
bad stuff
also
happens.
documented as well.
Correct, yes.
The documentation has got to follow it up, obviously. I've heard in the past, obviously, if someone was to go out and buy an aeroplane, for instance, the paperwork that you get with the aeroplane is actually, I think, historically, it was almost a room's worth of paperwork back in the day.
I can imagine.
Probably a PDF now, to be fair. But yeah, a large amount of paperwork with traceability of every single fastening on that has to be supplied by the manufacturer.
So these A-class or category A type applications would typically have been serviced by those really expensive Bosch Rexroth production tools. Okay, then we move into things where the Bosch Exact, like the little example that we had between us there, that's going to be your Exact tools, and they would be category B and C. So B are going to be the things where the tool at least needs to measure one of those parameters we discussed, like angle or torque, and it has to be directly measured. Okay, now these are going to include kinds of, if there was a failure, then you'll end up with a breakdown. So that could be, say, automotive, then the car breaks down, for example.
Well, putting engines together, something like that. If something like that was to come off an engine, let's say alternator bracket, something like that, it's obviously going to cause a breakdown of the vehicle. It's not necessarily going to injure or cause.
Hopefully not, yeah. But it would obviously cause some form of issue.
Yes.
That would ultimately render the product non-functional. And then that last category, category C, okay, then we're looking at something that we would define as like customer dissatisfaction. The product might still work, but it won't work very well. Think about like your fridge door not closing correctly, same for like your car door, or it might be something on a car like the interior, for example, is a bit loose and flapping around and making noises. So not the end of the world, but it could really damage your reputation with your customers, for example. Yes, and when you come to a category C product, remember we talked about those 2 different parameters like torque and like angle as an example. Then those 2 need to be measured, but it doesn't have to be directly by the tool. It can be done indirectly.
Yeah.
Right, so we're not going to get into too much detail. We just wanted to frame up what is already in existence when it comes to production and manufacturing, colloquially what we call our industrial tools to date. What we're going to be talking about today are these tools. These are what we define as a new category, is how we're defining it. So we're going to be defining these as kind of D-class tools.
Yes.
So these are not going to need the same level of torque tolerance. So they don't need to have the same level of accuracy, because we're not dealing in category A, B, and C. But we still want to have in superior torque tolerance compared to our normal power tools, our professional power tools, and also we want to have industrial internals.
Yeah, we talk about percentages, don't we, of deviation from the desired torque.
So we would say, would argue that, say, for a category A, well, let's go BC. Let's stay with the exacts. The BCs, there we're wanting something in the region of about 10%.
10%, which actually sounds like quite a lot, but when you're talking about torque, that's relatively nothing, really.
Exactly, and a lot of these tightening torques we're talking about are going to be in the single digit, maybe double digit. We're not talking hundreds of newton meters of torque for most of these applications.
No, it's fractions of
That's right.
meters.
So
Fractions.
plus and minus 10%, very little indeed.
Very little, yeah.
Okay, so what we're dealing with these D-class tools is we're talking about a torque tolerance of plus minus 15%. So we're already really close to those exact tools.
yeah.
And we didn't mention it, the fact that those exact tools are not cheap.
Not at all. I mean, I used to work in the workshop repairing power tools. A motor for one of those tools alone is about £400. And then obviously you've got the fitting and specialist setup for it as well. So it's an expensive thing to own and have to maintain, especially on a shop floor.
That's right, yes. So already, I'm not going to mention prices. Again, feel free to check out our website and the prices. But you'll be very, very pleasantly surprised to realise that these D-class industrial tools are not going to be prohibitively expensive. No. In fact, you might actually find out that many of these are competitive, if not cheaper, compared to your normal professional power tool. And part of the reason for that is we've kind of stripped away a lot of the user comforts that we normally have in our professional power tools because it is just not warranted in an industrial environment.
Yeah, I mean, you'll find with some of these as well, because the price is, quite frankly, comparable, very comparable to our current E-class tools, which is like the Pro, the Expert, and all the other tools that we do. Something like this, even for a kitchen fitter, who's doing the same fixings in the same material. Yeah, perfect. No more stripped out screws or anything like that. You can limit the torque accurately, or as accurately as you need to, for the current application that you're doing.
So we've kind of discussed already with these D-class tools that one of the main benefits is the fact that you're getting a very tight torque tolerance of plus and minus 15%. Dan's already kind of teasing on that second point. So typically what you'd be doing in a production and manufacturing environment is you'll have maybe, say for example, an assembly line, and you've got a number of individuals that may only have 1 or 2 tasks to do per station before that product, say an engine for example, then moves on to the next location. So that one individual will have that tool, and that tool will probably he'll have an individual tool set up to do nothing but one single task hundreds or thousands of times per day. Okay, so it's about it's about repeating the same task to a tight tolerance and nothing but. Okay, so that leads on to my second point, industrial internals, right, Dan?
Yes, very much so.
Think of the trigger.
Yes, the trigger itself on this, usually on a normal power tool, one of the E-class tools, you have a variable resistor trigger. Obviously you have copper parts passing over other copper contacts to give you that variable speed trigger. Many possibly wearing parts. They're lubricated. They're very reliable for the use from a construction point of view. However, from an industrial point of view, where you really need that machine to work perfectly every time and reach the right trigger position every single time, this is fitted, or all of these are fitted with a Hall sensor switch, which uses a magnetic resistor. No contact points in there, so no contact points, nothing to break down. So million cycles.
That's what we'd estimate. We'd expect a million out of that.
A million out of it. I mean, obviously, it'll do more, but again, it's expected to do a million.
Now, if we would go higher, then we'll be looking at things like what light barrier is it?
Yeah.
But we're not. That's again a far more expensive solution. The difference between your standard trigger and a Hall's trigger is going to be at least 3 to 4 times longer.
Oh, most definitely.
Okay, at least that's what I'm saying. So, say a million cycles on the trigger alone. Also consider other things like the gearbox and clutch. The internals here are designed for way in excess on what the typical tradesman will be doing day to day. Okay, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of cycles for the gearbox and the triggers themselves.
The beauty of these kits, I mean, obviously we'll go into it a little bit more details later on, with logging systems as well. You can track the trigger cycles. So if you say you're on a specific production line and you're concerned about a machine potentially going down, if it gets close to that million, you can set an alarm on there, and that will tell you that machine maybe want to do a service on it. Maybe you want to send it in for a service.
Absolutely.
Or put another machine in and send it off to service, and then you've got that as your spare. I mean, you can keep the whole production line running just in case anything happens.
Correct. So before we get into chatting about who these tools might be in a specific way or what kind of applications, because I think we'll lead into that. What we want to do is we want to show you the current existing range that we've got here for our D-Class IW industrial tools. Yeah. So first one up, Dan, you've got it.
I have it here. This is the ISR18. Remember, this is an ISR. We're using I as the prefix on here instead of G. G being Gewerblich. I've pronounced that completely wrong, but for professional in German, we have I, weirdly for industrial. ISR, so a screwdriver or drill driver. 18V-30. I've confused myself now. 18 volt, 30 Newton meters maximum torque, and a PHX for the fact that this is a precision clutch and hex bit, so 1/4 inch.
Now I'm going to quickly snatch it off you so I can place it on the table.
I butchered that name, didn't I?
No, you did it right.
Got there in the end.
We're going to get it set up for the pop-up because that's the most exciting part, of course. So yes, this is going to be the first of many IW tools that we're going to bring up.
This is one of my favourites. I think it's down to that head length. I mean, literally, you can get it in between your palm and your hand like that.
We're looking at 120 millimeters. It's nothing at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dan's explained the first industrial ISR. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide in the next one, which is going to be the ISR again, but this is now the 18V-30 P. Now P, again for precision, we've done away with the rest of the letters at the end because this is a 3-jaw chuck version.
But if you wanted to use the hex, obviously you can pop them in the end of the chuck.
Yeah, of course. So let's just stick them next to each other and you can see you've got essentially what is the same machine. You're going to have the same specifications. I think you've rattled off all the specifications already. The thing that makes them different obviously is going to be the tool holder, okay? And what we've got here is we have a clutch-based tool, but the difference between these mechanical clutches compared to the normal power tools, we call it E-class internally, but I think that might get confusing. But your normal professional power tools, which we refer to as, what Dan always refers to as meaningless linear units.
MLUs, although, with a torque setting on one of those machines, one of our pro machines, start off at the lowest torque and work your way up until the one that does to the depth that you want of the screw.
That's right.
But there are no torque values associated with that, so they are just linear units.
That's right. And with these tools, they are similar in the context that they don't stand for a specific setting, not on this level, but you still have a clutch here that goes from 1 to 20, and that will give you a Newton meter torque range, an accurate Newton meter torque range within that plus and minus 15% from 1.6 Newton meters up to a maximum of 7.6 Newton meters. If you want the maximum torque on either one of these machines up to that 30 Newton meters of hard 30 Newton meters of hard torque, then you simply rotate it into the drill setting here. Okay, and that is going to be your max torque, but that's not going to be plus and minus 15%.
No.
Okay, but you would not be using this tool in the maximum setting expecting to have tight torque tolerances. You would be using the actual clutches.
Yeah, and that's
the
what
settings there.
give you the torque. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess you could say essentially these are the tools that you're looking at for metal fixings, for example, and very small screws. You won't be doing anything heavy duty with this, not for this level, okay? Because these are still going to just be drivers. So there's no force multiplier on these, it's direct drive.
Yeah.
Okay?
I got to admit, I would probably go for the PHX version, mainly because I can get drill bits with the hex bit in now. It's just so much quicker.
Now, to do a quick demonstration, because not only are these clutches, or the torque settings on these very accurate, they also have precision control clutch. Now we've had one similar to this in not the past, we've still currently got it, which is our EP City, which is on something like the new Expert machine.
EXSR 18V-90 FC and the C. And no, we don't have the C.
Yeah, the normal, I said yes, normal Expert drivers and the FlexiClick.
So many letters and numbers now.
That's right, yeah. So we had the precision clutch. So any of our old school Bosch fanboys will know that automatically electronically switches the tool off instead of what you usually get with a clutch system or a normal torque setting where it will just
over torque.
You'll hear the clicking noises as it's bouncing on the clutch basically, and it will it could, in many certain circumstances, still tighten it a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
Regardless of that, what you're doing is you're producing noise and you're producing unnecessary wear.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember, these are industrial tools, so we want to minimize that wear.
Yeah.
So you've got
I've got this one here.
the PX,
What's that?
PHX model, and you can just show
importantly.
very quickly. Yeah.
I'll get the LPP.
Very nice. I'm
And I can't see anything now, but
going to look away.
Yeah,
I'm
well
fully
protected.
comfortable that I'm not going to be severely injured by flying screws or wood.
you
so
never know.
I'll be safe.
I'm
But
gonna
what we're going to just demonstrate here is Dan is able to dial in a very specific torque, a bit more.
Oh, you've changed it. That was you
I did.
did a number on me. Right.
That's right. And
So
what
I've got this set to 4 at the moment.
should be enough. And
Right,
what you should be listening out for is the fact that the machine will hit the torque and then switch off.
There you go. So that's torqued perfectly.
Yep.
There
So
you go.
again, you could have held the trigger if you down longer if you wanted. There's no need. The machine switches off automatically. And again, if you're in a situation where you are constructing something, manufacturing, assembly, then the last thing you want to do at the end of a very long shift is worry about whether or not that you're a few microseconds slower each time as you do the trigger. Okay?
Exactly.
You don't want that the micro tightening going on. You just want the machine to stop dead, no noise, accurate torque plus or minus 15%, and then you move on to your next fixing.
I
So
mean,
that's
to be fair, into wood is not really too much of a challenge for it. But if you're using like tech screws or self-tapping screws through metal or sheet metal, you can set it to obviously not strip the threads out afterwards, so you can limit it absolutely perfect every time, as tight as you need it to be, not as tight as you want it to be.
correct.
Quite often, the intention isn't to not over tighten things.
Yeah. So we're talking about, I think the terminology is, we call it zero overriding of torque.
Okay.
Right. So, however, imagine you are in charge, and this live stream is kind of geared towards people that might be in charge of large or small companies that are constructing things. One of the things you have to consider is you obviously train your employees. You have an SOP, standard operating procedure or process for a certain part, and then your engineer or your operative has got to follow that. But we are aware that on a device like this or a machine like this, that could get knocked, or you might have an employee who's not well trained, we'll say, and they might mess around with the torque settings and they might not reset it correctly.
So I don't think that's tight enough. I'm going to change
That's right.
it. Yeah.
Yes. So we are obviously aware that a tool like this has what we would describe as an ability for changing the settings. So
There's something I was thinking the same, but I'm not going to say that.
I'm being polite. It's before 9 o'clock. So what we've got are some very simple solutions that have come from things like the exact tools, and we've got a simple cover here. So this would act as a physical barrier. I'll pass that to Dan so he can pop that on. Okay, and what that means is basically discourages. Discourages. It discourages is the English word I was looking for there. Discourages people from modifying the settings, or if it is knocked by accident, then you're not going to have that problem of the clutch being accidentally moved.
A little bit of glue around the outside as well probably wouldn't go amiss, just so they don't peel it off.
Yeah.
Something obviously that you can, if you need to, take it off and put it back on.
So that is an optional accessory that you can purchase. I believe you might even get different colours.
Different colours as well, yep. So if you've got several machines all set to a different torque, you can have a colour for each torque. So there you go.
That's right. Yeah, so remember, the way to imagine this is you are on a station, you are doing your one thing, you might have multiple tools with different fixings, different torque settings, and you want to be easily able to find things and there's no misunderstanding. Because again, long repetitive shifts, it's very easy to get tired and make mistakes.
And if you pick up the wrong one and do the wrong action, then something like what we're going to talk about later will tell you you've done it wrong.
That's right. Other little accessories, obviously we have the ability to attach the hooks here on the top. So if you want them, have them suspended via cables that you drop down and then you do your work and then it bounces back up again, then we have that option as well. So these are, as far as I'm concerned, these are still just the same kind of mindset going behind the IW
Very much so.
B and C class tools, but we've got a far more cost-effective version here.
Much more. I mean,
Much more with still good torque tolerances. Okay, so I don't want you thinking these are cheap tools. I don't really necessarily want you to think that these are replacements for professional power tools. This is a different category, so that's one thing you need to understand here. But
bespoke, made for a specific application.
But but what we'll get to later in the stream is I can see a lot of professional tradesmen or people in some form of industry not necessarily manufacturing assembly, that might see a great benefit for these. And that's why we wanted to bring these industrial tools into this forum, onto this live stream.
Even carpenters and cabinetry make. I mean, there's so many different applications that you could.
Okay, let's look at another tool. If you want to put them to one side, Dan.
Put this to one side. There you go.
Okay. Okay, so the next one I've got here, you'll see that it's obviously a slightly different tool, but we're still in the same concept. We're still talking about our D-class industrials. Next machine here, as you can see, it is obviously a 1/4-inch internal hex machine, but this is an IDR 18V-125T.
Yeah.
So, IDR, GDR, EXDR, we're talking about an impact driver.
Yeah.
Okay, 125 Newton meters of max torque. T is for, I guess, torque control.
Torque control, yeah.
Okay,
And we've had these independently tested for basically our own benefit, really. So we can talk about these with impunity, and the company that did it for us were remarkably shocked at how accurate the torques were on these.
Now, as always, the Bosch logic when it comes to the naming is absolutely logical, except when it detracts from that logic.
Yeah.
So the maximum
we
torque,
like a caveat as
exactly.
well,
So the maximum torque on this particular one is actually 180 Newton meters of torque.
Oh.
So the 125 could be misleading, but
don't worry about it.
yeah, don't worry about that. I'll get into that. Now, what's different with this one? Firstly, obviously, it's an impactor. So now we're dealing with much higher torque compared to the 30 Newton meters, 180. But we're going to get into the fact that this is also electronically controlled because you notice, guess what? We don't have any. We don't, like an impact driver, we don't have any way of physically, mechanically changing the torque. It's all done electronically on this. Okay, ignore that beep for now. I'll explain that later. You see down on the bottom, we have the ability with 2 simple buttons to change our torque settings. Okay, I think, let me go through them because it's been a while. I think I've got
9 on there, I think. 9 and then...
and H. So H will be your 180 Newton meters of torque. And then if you go through these different settings, you'll have different torque values.
They're torque windows, basically.
Correct, yes. Because obviously the amount of torque is going to be determined by the size of the fixing you're working with.
All the type of the fixing as well.
Exactly.
Soft or hard fixing.
So in the instruction manual, I believe we actually give basically like a little cheat sheet. And what we do there is we say on a table showing the type of fitting, usually it's going to be between M5 and M10 for torque control. Okay, although the machine can work up to M12, but without the torque tolerance that we discussed earlier. Okay, and it'll give you, as Dan says, a window of where that torque begins and ends based on that size. Yeah. Now, what we haven't discussed, but it's a good point to say here, the process would be that when you, if you are considering this kind of tool, either you can reach out to one of our business development managers, our tool demonstrators, and ask them whether or not you can have a demonstration or a sample, for example.
Yeah, quite often we do that.
Okay, and what you would do is then you would take that tool and then you would do your own calibration yourself. So you would find out, you do your fixing, and then you would work out which setting gets to the torque that you are trying to get to. Yeah. So it might not mean mode 5 every time. Yeah. It might mean you need to take that machine, calibrate it, make sure it's correct with your torque wrenches and stuff, and then you can sign that tool off and then you've got your process. Okay, that's what you have to do.
The current process that you would probably have is that you would tighten it up there or thereabouts and then go around with the torque wrench anyway. So or doing a calibration every now and again isn't too much of an upheaval and it will keep everything.
Or what you're doing, especially when it comes to this new type of tool, now we're into the much higher torque with impactors, you might just do FT and break it.
Oh, yes, very much.
Or over tighten it and then ends up making the fitting loose, for example. Yeah. So this is a great example of a tool that is designed now to help limit over tightening. Now this is a product that we obviously wanted to bring into the market because we had, say for example, solar panel installation. And we were finding, especially in the UK, that we had many people that were using traditional impactors, like normal GDRs or GDSs, and they were over tightening the fittings onto the solar panels and they were breaking the glass just enough to cause ingress of water, and over time you'd end up the solar panels become less and less efficient or fail entirely, or they'll damage the brackets and then you'll get to failures on these solar farms.
Well, you're having that as well obviously if you don't tighten them enough. Correct. So potentially in high winds the panel will move slightly and it will work its way around the bolt. Usually you'll find the panel will be an aluminium, so a softer material, which will then elongate and then potentially be ripped off the stand that it's on. So again, expensive either way.
That's right. So what you've got here on this product that we haven't mentioned yet, I'll just ask the close-up cam to just pick up this, see if you can get this logo here. That's it, that's good enough, you can see it here. And this icon here. Now again, to any of the fans in the chat, remember connectivity? Well, we haven't abandoned it. We have modified it for our industrial tools. So these are not Bluetooth based.
They are near field communication.
Nearly. Near field connectivity.
Well, that's
Same difference, okay?
same thing as your chip and pin, basically.
That's right. So instead of using
Not chip and
Bluetooth,
pin, contactless.
he's on a roll today.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So what you've got here is, because it's near field, it's like Bluetooth, but it's so much, it's lower energy. In fact, it's virtually no energy, okay? But it does mean that you have to bring the device that you're using to communicate it with it, say for a smartphone, you have to bring it pretty close. Near field, right? But that's not an issue because you don't want to necessarily control things at 30 meters away. You want to set this tool up at a desk if you're a controller for a production site, okay? Put the settings you need in here and potentially lock it off. So that gives you the ability to go into the tool, make changes, minor modifications, similar to what we've had with some of our previous Bluetooth tools, and then potentially lock the tool, put it on the station, assign it to your operator, and then leave it. Okay. It also allows you to read data off it as well, just using your smartphone, using the Pro 360 app, for example. Okay, without needing to invest in the Bluetooth modules, the
that's everything.
GYCs and
Pro
things.
360, as most of you out there know, is completely free.
Now, later in this presentation, if you're still all awake, we'll do actually a quick demonstration on one of the other tools and show you exactly how NFC works and how the app works and how you can change some of the functions. We don't want to do it on every tool. You'll see that it's the same principle for all the tools, just with slightly different modes and settings depending on the tool you've got. Final thing I want to show on this tool, which you might have heard, I'll do it one more time. Maybe you're hearing through the mics, you might be hearing that little beep noise. If I spin the machine around and ask Rebecca to catch that on the close-up cam, you'll see that on the back of this tool, we have a small light. So I'm going to, okay, you'll see that, you can see the color. There you go, orange light. Okay, this changes color depending on what's happened. Guess what? If it's green, good job.
You've done a good job, yeah.
Yellow means
try again.
well, it means you're not doing anything. It means, no load, essentially. You haven't done anything, so that doesn't count. And then you might get another color, which is red, which is a warning. It could be a low battery. It could be you over-tightened somehow, or you've cross-threaded, or you've double hit something. Which means you've tried to apply torque, but nothing's happened. And that could be important if you are inadvertently double tightening everything. So then you will be exceeding whatever the torque is that you're trying to hit.
We have also had put these into industrial environments where the worker's standing there at the side of the vehicle and what we call spamming the trigger. And it will come up as an awful lot of incomplete fastenings and nothing's been tightened at all. So again, it's a training opportunity.
So when we do the little NFC demonstration on our smartphone, you'll see that probably the demo tool that we're going to be used has been continuously no loaded because everyone likes to pull triggers on stuff, and you'll be able to see the percentage of correct, bad fixings or whatever. This is great, again, using that example of a solar engineer, right? You have a job and you're going to go out and we know that you're going to do X number of panels, which means X number of fixings. And the worst thing you want to do is get back to your back to the office, and then they run the report and you go, you have done 99% or you've done 999 of those 1,000 bolts.
And then you've got to work out which one.
But at least you know that you missed one.
You know you missed one.
Otherwise, going, did you do them all? Yeah, probably. So there is already at this level a level of reporting. Obviously, the previous two machines don't have that feature. This will be the first one that is a bit more smart.
Even like this, a little kit that we've put together here to show like screw counting and then go, no go, and complete. That's something even running in the back of a vehicle, you could almost.
You could.
So,
but if you don't,
you've got 6 screws to do up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put it back in the holster. If you get a green light, you've done them all.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about that thing when you get back to the office later on and realise it.
That's right. So we'll be covering this right at the end of the live stream, so stay tuned for that because this is where it gets super nerdy but quite interesting. But I said at this level, you can just read off your phone with a free of charge. All again free of charge. The app's free. And obviously connectivity doesn't cost anything. There's no subscription.
Yep.
You can read the data out of this tool just using a smartphone. Okay. Oh, take a break for a second. Ollie, do you reckon we've had any questions yet? Because we've been going for nearly 45 minutes, and I'm sure we might have some people well, maybe we've got some opinions. Who knows? What do we got?
Yeah, we've got some questions.
Cool.
Just going back a little bit, there's a couple people commenting that, Dan, your beard looks artificially generated. Is it?
No, it is fully real.
fully
I'm
real.
going for the full Grizzly Adams. It's very irritating, but I'm confident I can beat Chris.
It can't be AI because he's irritable.
Yes.
So it's definitely real.
It's annoying me, so it can't be AI. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few people saying that it looks pretty good. Out of the Odyssey, Matt Damon-esque.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I can do that.
Is that that?
I'll take that.
That's good.
Remember that? Can I get that in writing?
I'm deleting.
Printed in frame.
I'm deleting the chat after this. Yeah,
delete the chat.
You'll never see it.
Trolls. Clearly, these are foreign bots
Yes.
Yeah.
that programmed by Dan to compliment him.
Yeah, it's found me out.
Radine wants to know where you can find these tools.
The D-Class tools, as far as I'm concerned, are on our normal website. We also have a separate website that, again, I think Ollie, after this live stream, I think we should put the links in the low bar down below, obviously to find the products. And also, if you're interested in some of the IW exact tools, for example, the B and C class tools, we should also pop a link in for those. It's a separate website to our normal professional power tool one, because even though they are kind of coexisting, it's only now that these D-class tools kind of bridged
They
that
bridged the gap, don't they?
Yeah, they blur the divide between two. So we'll pop some of those in the description box once the live stream's finished, and you can have a look at those at your leisure. But yeah, we've still got plenty of tools to look through.
PF wants to know, is the motor more efficient than the expert equivalent? I'm going to say, I'm paraphrasing here. And what is the difference, if there is, and does the different types of clutches the reason, or is it different tuning? I'm guessing he's asking what the different clutches
It's all in the electronics. The clutches are largely the same. However, they are
Improved.
They're far more improved with harder materials, obviously for that industrial longevity. But the electronics are tweaked to cut off sooner than they would do in a normal power tool.
Exactly. This tool is a electronic algorithm based
The motor
system.
is not a standard motor. The gearbox is not a standard gearbox, and the electronics are definitely not a standard electronics. The whole thing, although it looks like a standard Pro machine, is completely different internals.
There was
much higher grade.
there was an important point that I actually don't know the answer to, and so maybe I'll find out, which was, is it more efficient compared to a normal professional equivalent? I mean, that's a hard one to answer. These are all brushless machines regardless, so they're in line, at least in regards to the technology used, but that's unsurprising that they're brushless. Whether or not these are more efficient, I don't know. I'll find out the answer. I would expect them to be at least equal, obviously.
Oh, yes.
We know that typically we don't even recommend running these on bigger batteries, because a lot of it we want to keep the machine compact and lightweight for the operator. So we typically recommend these run on just a standard
2 amp.
single layer 2 amp hour battery.
Yeah.
And we know that they're going to do lots of fittings, but they're doing lots of low torque
So low
fittings.
torque, yes.
And everything's much shorter in application time.
Well, you'll notice with one of the other machines we'll look at a bit later on, it's a low-speed machine as well for super accurate torque. So yeah, that one I would say is far more efficient than anything we've got on the Pro.
Yeah, so I'll ask the question to see if I can find out. I would assume they are an equivalence when it comes to
I would imagine
efficiency,
so, yes.
but there are other benefits that are more important to an industrial user.
Because you can lock the machine and it has a keep alive memory in it as well, changing the battery is seconds, and you don't lose your programming in that as well. So you immediately change the battery and away you go again.
Yeah.
No warm-up time, no reboot, no nothing like that. So
Yeah, Ollie, anything else?
Yeah, a couple more. One's a statement and then a couple more questions. So Jerome has come in and he said the IDR18V-30, this is, I'm guessing, with the naming kerfuffle you guys had. He's saying that 125 Newton meters max torque is in auto shut-off mode. So I'm guessing that's where the 125 in the name comes from.
yes,
Yeah, sorry, I didn't make that clear. Yes, the 180 is when you're in the H setting. 125 is going to be
39.
Is going to be setting 9. Yeah.
Yeah. Natbug coming in. He's saying they work in furniture assembly. Would these be good for that industry? There's no need for torque tolerance, but we don't want to ram the screws into the wood.
Exactly. That's what I was saying before about furniture makers or fine cabinetry work, stuff like that. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Even one of those, they were Project Sparrow, I think they were the first two. But something like that, even just the PHX one, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's not one trick pony. It's not a magic bullet. It's not just this one thing. It's a combination of all those things. So again, if you're assembling lots of furniture, yes, you want to have the ability to control torque. Yes, you want to have that switch off, the automatic switch off, so the precision clutch. But you also probably really benefit from having the longevity, right? Yeah. That's also part of it. And if all these things combine, then and the fact that these are not more expensive necessarily compared to a standard tool, in fact, maybe even cheaper, these might be an absolute clear win for you. Yeah. So instead of using normal professional power tools, these industrial tools are worth a consideration. And that's why we really want to do this live stream, because when we started, we had, was it 4?
Yes.
I think the third last time. So we got a lot more now to
So we had
play
the
with.
2 Sparrows, we had this one, and the next one.
Yeah, those were typically a bit more in the lower torque. Up, I think the most we had when we did the first wave was 200, and you'll see in a minute. Not only have we gone all the way up to 650 Newton meters, but we've got a lot of other stuff in between.
Yes,
mostly impactors that we didn't have. We only had one impact the last time.
Yeah.
So yeah, good point. Yeah, good. Worth considering for furniture making.
Yes, definitely. Perfect.
Yeah, just 3 more. PF's coming in. Why not create a precision drill press for certain industrial drilling applications, making hinges for industrial/commercial workshop storage systems or parts for heavy machinery like backhoes?
Okay.
Agreed.
Yes.
Pillar drill.
Precision drill press.
Maybe a professional one to start with. Eh?
Maybe a professional one to start with. Yes.
Yeah, let's get a professional one. May or may not be coming very soon. And then we could consider seeing if we can get one in the industrial category.
Yeah, I can see that would be good.
Yep. Yes.
Someone there.
Correct.
Correct.
Agreed.
Yeah, it wasn't really a correct answer, but yes.
No, it's correct. That is a good choice. That is something we should have. That's all I can say. Ollie, any more?
Yeah, a couple more. Jerome, what is the feather sign on the HMI?
Oh, soft joint.
Yeah.
So we will cover it in a bit more detail when we look into the software, when we do the NFC demonstration. But obviously there are different types of joints.
Yep. Think of a, say for instance, a nut down to a flat surface being a hard joint, washers being a soft joint.
Yeah, imagine if you, again, washers.
That's massively oversimplified.
Yeah. But imagine, think of softer materials. Well, that
crush washers.
You need to tell the tool in order to compensate in the electronics and the algorithm, so it knows it needs to modify the setting. Basically,
it's going to get some resistance before it tightens down.
So it kind of delays the algorithm because it knows it has to cinch down a bit more.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Specifically programmed to still get the same tool.
Good point. Good. Our viewers are paying attention. That's good. They are noticing things that we haven't covered yet.
Well done, Rebecca. You got that one perfectly.
No, it's all me, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, last one from PF for now. He's saying that you should call yourselves the Bearded Free as a rock band. Start your own truck tour all across Europe. Do you agree? Question mark.
Why 3? Why 3? As far as you know, Rebecca's got a beard too, so we could be the Bearded 4.
It's not even a joke.
No. Maybe we could form a quartet.
Yes.
But Rebecca's shaking her head, so no, it's a Bearded trio.
Yeah.
Hey, if you will pay for that. I still play the drums really badly. You guys could learn some instruments. Hey, why not?
I'm really good on the kazoo.
I can play the spoons.
Okay. The spoons, the kazoo, and the drums.
Drum and spoons. We're away. New genre. We'll consider it. How's that? New year. Maybe next January we'll think about it. Okay, so I assume that final question wasn't a real question, so we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
We're going to look at some more tools. So we've looked at obviously ISR.
Yes.
And IDR. So now let's look at the impact wrenches that we've got.
Yeah.
Now I think you have them, Dan.
I think I do.
You have the first one anyway.
Yes. I shall bring a couple over.
Yeah, bring them all over and we'll go through one at a time.
I only have 2.
Okay, I've got the bigger one.
You got the
So what are we doing here? Right, so we're looking for tools with obviously much higher torque requirements. Obviously the IDR was 125 Newton meters of torque tolerant, torque control.
Yes.
Torque. God, I'm going to say a lot of torque here. As an impact driver, so using a 1/4 inch internal hex, but you might want to be using wrenches and running sockets primarily without having to use adapters, because we know adapters are things that break, get lost, and you lose energy through them.
Exactly.
So what we've got here with the first machine, Dan, up to you.
Yes, this one is the IDS18V-200.
I've ruined it for you.
125.
This one's the 125. Sorry, but what?
I like this one because we don't do many 3/8 drive impactors. We've got one in our Pro range and we've got one in our 12 volt as well. So yeah, 3/8 drive impactor, which is actually quite useful for assembly work. So
Yeah.
So great little machine, this one.
Yeah, we made it a little difficult for Ollie because we'd already told him we were going to start with a different machine, but he compensated well.
I'm working in torque levels.
Okay, so so we got obviously impact wrench, and obviously you've already mentioned this is not a 1/2 inch; it's the smaller one. But that's fine because we aren't dealing with large torque levels yet.
No.
Here's a battery. What you'll see on this tool is, surprise, surprise, lots of familiar parts.
It's very, very similar.
Maybe you even heard the sound there, and you'll see that the interface is exactly the same. So we're not trying to change too much.
No.
We know that the interface works, so you're going to have your 9 torque settings, and then you're going to have that final high torque setting, which will give you again that 180 Newton meters of hard torque that's not within that plus and minus 15%. The product is still NFC on the side there, and has the light on the back, so the operator themselves can understand whether or not they have done their application correctly. So it gives instant feedback. Right? Otherwise, what are you going to do? Hopes and dreams.
Yeah, a little bit of a guesstimation.
Correct. Yeah.
What you might notice from this machine as well, obviously the impact tightening torque is exactly the same as the previous model we talked about, the IDR. Whereas before we have GDS and the GDR, it's just a different gearbox with a similar machine. This is exactly the same way. This is a 3/8 drive gearbox, whereas the other one had the 1/4 inch impact driver gear.
Yeah. You probably can't, well, again, just to help you visualize it, again, it's kind of a standard size, but actually I'd argue this is actually smaller than some of our traditional impact wrenches. So it's quite compact. It's only 135 millimeters in head length.
Definitely smaller than our 210 range, but not our 220, 230.
I mean, I've got an example here of our 330,
Yeah.
just to give it some reference. So it's a little bit, just a little bit on the bigger side, but there's not much in it. And this is already, that one is already quite a compact new machine anyway. Yeah. So these new industrial tools are well in line with our more compact machines.
Yeah. Really like these new batteries as well.
They fit very nice. And again,
we
we don't recommend running the larger expert batteries or the double layer batteries. We want to keep the machine lightweight.
Yeah.
Okay, you're typically going to be at a station. If you are not and you're in the field, I mean, unless you're doing a lot of fixings, a 2 amp hour will probably service you well. But hey, it's Bosch Professional. You can use any of our batteries.
Yeah. You may be asking also what this rubber ring is on the front here. So we have a little rubber ring there. You can catch a little square in it. If I put my hand behind it, there you go. See a little square. That sits on the actual anvil here, and you'll see the anvil actually is sculpted into a larger diameter inside. So the larger diameter gives strength to the anvil on this particular machine. But this rubber washer is designed to prevent the sockets from riding up against it and cutting into the actual shank here. So you get far longer. I think it's 100% longer runtime out of the actual anvil here than you did from the other previous models as well.
On this one, it's actually 2 to 5 times.
Is it really?
Yeah, 2 to 5 times longer. But it's a mixture because it's the anvil, yes, but it's also the gearbox too. So it's a combination.
Right, okay.
But I think you are right in regards to the tool fitting. Yeah,
because we do have another large impact come into the Pro range, and that has an even more improved.
Yeah, you are right. Yes, I've combined the two things, but you are right that is going forward something that we're putting out on everything, not just the industrial tools.
That's
correct. Yeah. The machine's very similar to the IDR. Okay, so you're still running with the same kind of bolt sizes. So we're still thinking about, you'll want to be looking at things like M5 to about M10, but you can still go up to M12 if you want. Yeah. Okay. If you want bigger, then we have bigger tools.
We certainly do.
So we'll let Ollie.
This is the one you threw me with.
Well, I prepped it with Ollie, but I mixed up a little bit because I was going chronologically, not talk.
Go do that for.
Who would do that? Right, so you
It does
bring it over, Dan, come on. So this is the machine that we talked about in the first IW live stream that we did.
So there you go. This is the IDS18V-200T, which I thought popped up on the screen before.
That's right, yes. I realised as I was looking at it again, well, that tool holder's not the right tool
Not
holder.
the right tool holder, no. No, so this is a half-inch tool holder. Obviously still got that rubber ring on there for the same reasons. Obviously got that extra long lifetime from both the gearbox and from the anvil here. Bigger, more powerful machine, 200 Newton meters maximum tiny torque. Still got the same fixings, the same module on the base here. So you've got that the 9 settings, H, all the way back down to 1 again. So it cycles all the way through, so you don't have to go backwards and forwards. Again, it's got the same hard torque, soft torque, and settings as the previous model.
Yeah, I mean, we are aware that we're going to probably blitz through some of the products here because you'll notice that the products are very similar in regards to the core machine. There'll be a different torque value, maybe a different size fitment mechanism, but all the impactors are going to be based on the same chassis.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, it works.
The same electronics and chassis is what I mean. Still has the light on the back, as we described. It's exactly the same principle involved because you don't want to have too much variation between the different tools. You might have a number of these on a station and your operator wants to be completely familiar with the entire ecosystem.
Yeah. And again, with this, you can also lock it and everything. Yeah.
Yep. Plus or minus 15% torque tolerance and the ability to do NFC as well. Yeah. Now, I've got the larger one, so I'm going to grab that, Dan.
You do.
I'm going to cheat. I'm going to put an expert battery on it because I've got one spare. In complete excess, but hey, big machine, big battery, why not?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the relatively new addition to the range. I say relatively new, we've had it for some time, but obviously we waited for this live stream. This is the IDS18V-750 much higher torque tolerance. I mean, actually maximum torque on this one is 750 Newton meters, but again, torque tolerance between, I forgot what the low end of this one is, I should know, but it's completely left my mind at this stage. You have your, same as before, 9 custom settings for you to be able to do your self-calibration with, and that final H value for maximum torque. Same controls, plus and minus button, okay, the ability to modify for the soft joint, buzzer, and also the light on the back. Okay.
The thing I like about this machine more than most of the other stuff, and I know we've got a lot of other stuff on there to talk about, is if you look at it in profile like that, I don't know whether you can see, but the handle is so much more forward on the machine.
Yeah, you can see.
So using a larger battery like you've got on there, the 5.5 in fact, it's much better balanced in the hand. You've got the motor hanging out over the palm of your hand, and you can get closer to whatever you're doing as well.
I think that's a fair point in saying, because obviously now we've gone up to what we could say is a bigger and heavier machine, but in reality, I mean, without the battery, this is still only 1.8 kilos. It doesn't weigh much, and because actually, even thinking about it, it doesn't feel like 2 kilos in my hand.
No.
Because of that balance. Yeah. The battery does help, but yes, you are right. That design of it.
You don't notice it until you point it out, though, do you? It's just the fact that handle's so much more further forward. Yeah. It just sits nicely.
But that's key because again,
it's comfort.
It's about hand and arm. It's about the operator. They're going to be using these tools all day. There's, as opposed to what you might do as a tradesman, which is you're going to fiddle with some stuff, you might modify or cut some things, you might have a bit more of a mixed job. This is all you're doing. If you're an assembly line, you'll be using this tool all the time. So it has to be well balanced. You want to reduce repetitive strain, and you want the machines to be lightweight. And that's one of the reasons why it might look quite stripped back while we've got no rubber for no additional, for reduce the weight, reduce the cost, but also you'll find that in a...
I find it quite comfortable.
Yeah, it's still comfortable. But you'll find actually on manufacturing and assembly lines, the last thing they want is this rubber stuff because it gets dirty, it gets damaged, it peels off.
If you get solvents onto it, it breaks down the rubber. And
right. So this is, so for those who might be asking, oh, why does it look so bare bones? It's not just about cost. It's actually a requirement and a request from our experience in the industrial field. Still
made from GF30 though?
Yeah, still good materials, yeah.
Yep, so was it PA6 GF30? So
some of it will be, yeah.
Yeah, so it's drop proof as well.
Okay, so in summary, where we got to? Let's grab a few out. Okay, so in summary, you see that when it comes to our impactors, we have already 4 models in here, ranging from 125. Well, let's use torque. Let's use our torque tolerant numbers: 125, 200, and obviously the 650. We've got the 2 ISRs. Obviously, they are your 30 Newton meters with chuck and your 1/4 inch internal hex. But we're not finished there.
No, we certainly are.
So we're going to move into probably the last machine that you guys might have seen. This was the last one we presented. Was it T2?
Did we present this one before? I don't know whether we did.
We definitely did it in one of the last live streams.
It might have been almost like a whistle-stop tour, but we'd like to go into this in a little bit more depth.
That's right, yes. And I think because this is the most up-to-date one, and this is probably what I'd argue is the most IW exact style one, because it's got so much more features to it. This is by far what I would say the most IW, the most industrial one.
It even looks similar to the IW.
So we'll probably spend the rest of the live stream looking at some of the features on this and some of how this works with the rest of the industrial ecosystem, because, hey, it's one of my favorite tools already. So what we got here is the ISR18V-50 E. So we've got a different naming structure already. So E is going to be the fact that this is the first one that has an electronic clutch.
Yes, so direct drive basically, except the clutch is fully electronic.
You'll notice, first off,
that doesn't mean it doesn't have kickback as well, which it does, which I found out earlier.
It does, it does. So first thing you'll notice is there is no control panel here. How can this be sophisticated? Ah, well, we'll put it on the back.
Yes.
Okay, so what you got here, make sure it focuses on it, is you've got your control interface on the back, you've got your light on the back, that obviously tells you your indication. Another no load error added to the file. Okay, and you've got your plus and minus buttons here that allow you to go through. I'll have to cover the light a bit. You go through your normal settings here. So you'll have, I believe, your 9 settings.
10.
Oh, no, 10 settings, so 11, 12. Okay, and then you're going to have your 3 custom settings. Before you get to that, you usually have custom 1, 2, and 3. Now, I switched these on because these are not actually on from default. You switch these on in the app, but I've left these on just to show you how to switch them off again. And then you have your high torque value. Okay, right. So I won't go into the details of what the custom modes are at this stage, because I want to do that again in our NFC demonstration. I probably want to just explain to the viewers a bit more about the tool and how this is different to the ones we've shown before. One of the things we obviously want to point out is, again, the auto shut-off torque on this tool is between 7.8 Newton meters and 45.4, okay? The custom modes allow you to be even more granular between those 1 to 12 settings, okay? I'll show you this again, all in the app, and also that high torque value. One of the things that Dan pointed out, yes, this is the first one that has selectable kickback control. So, I mean, you are working with slightly higher torques, and it's not an impactor, so it's direct drive. So kickback could be an issue.
Especially if you've got a stuck thread. If you're doing something up, you get a stuck thread, and then you think, well, I'll just undo it again. You're not going to pick up another machine and do that. Probably you should do. But if you try to undo it and it's still stuck coming back out again, and it does kick, it's not going to cause you any injury.
That's right. Like the other tools, you are able to lock the settings. You can actually
pointed at me when you said tools then.
In this direction here.
Over there.
Yeah, like the other tools, especially the impactors, where you have the interface and the NFC, you are able to lock the settings. And this one, you're also allowed to remove settings. So maybe you only want them to have torque setting 1 and 5. Maybe you've got 2 different jobs, for example, and they can manually switch between those, but they can't mess around with them. Maybe you want to remove all of the torque settings and only give them custom 1 and custom 2. So you've got a lot more functionality with this tool than you had on the previous ones, because now you can select things much easier. I mean, they're all pretty user friendly, to be honest, but this one is giving you a lot more features. Something that's different on this that I quite like is, depending on what torque setting you've got, it also automatically changes the RPM too. So if you're working in a low setting, which I'll demonstrate in a minute, you'll find that that the RPM is much slower, less of a surprise. Everything feels far more deliberate and makes it a very, very comfortable tool to use. It's one of my favorite tools to use, to be honest.
But obviously, if you're going to be using a higher torque, you have to have a higher RPM to hit that torque level. So the machine will automatically adjust that and up the speed for you.
Okay. Now this one has some specific endurance values applied to it. Because obviously we've said that it's got the Hall's trigger, which we would quote up to around 1 million trigger cycles, which doesn't sound like much, but in reality it is a lot.
On a production line, you may get to that, but in normal use, you'd never get anywhere close to that.
And we're looking at close to 300,000 clutch cycles before you would probably want to put it in for maintenance. Now, this is pretty normal for industrial tools. Repairing the triggers and then the clutches typically is going to be a regular schedule event. You can schedule it in the tool as well, actually. And this is perfectly common because the most important thing that you want is reliability. You don't want a tool to fail halfway through a production line because that could cost millions.
Essentially,
if the whole production line is stalled because one station can't proceed. So having a regular maintenance cycle is paramount.
Typically, if you had, say, 2 or 3 different machines as spares, you'd still have to stop the line to program them to the setting of the broken one for you to get going. So massively inconvenient either way.
Correct. Okay, so I'm going to do a very quick demonstration on this one just to show the kinds of things the interface will do. We covered it on the other ones, we just said it, but I'll do a quick live demo here to show what would happen if you do something correctly, what happens if you do it incorrectly, and what happens if you do something like I forgot what the term is, the double trigger pull.
I'm sure,
Oh, I forgot. It's late. I've forgotten the name. Okay, so what I'm going to check I've got the right setting first off. I've set this for level 1. If I look at the back screen, if Rebecca, you want to catch that, you'll see that I've got on this one, I've got the kickback control, or you can see that there's already the light there for kickback. So I've got it enabled in the tool already. So I'm protected from my incompetence. I'm going to handhold this one. Dan goes, nah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Okay.
Is it that advanced?
Exactly. So we'll find out. Okay. And I'm just going to mount this on. You'll notice that the RPM is nice and slow because I'm running at speed 1. And you'll notice that the clutch, when it kicks in, provides basically no kick. Okay. Finger still on the trigger. Light is green. No buzzer sound. Well done, Chris.
Yes.
You've done a good job. Okay. We've already shown what happens if, for example, I might have missed it. Yellow. You have not done anything. And then lastly, I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do that again for a laugh. Now that was a bit of a kick, but red light. So that's saying that's an error. So something has not been done correctly. I'm just going to loosen this for a second for the next demo. Okay, so that's the interface. What makes an E-clutch better compared to the traditional normal clutch, which is still fine. We have made the normal mechanical clutches really tight on those torque tolerances, but there are advantages that an E-clutch gives you, and this is why I like this tool. One is the fact that mechanical clutch, yes, you can put a cover over it that can help accidentally knocking stuff, but if an operator really wants to mess with that tool for whatever reason, they can, right? With an E-clutch, you can electronically control what this tool does and lock out any other features. You could have no buttons pressing. You could have it all automatically loaded. The operator can't make any changes. The lifespan on an E-clutch machine is going to be higher because it's not mechanically wearing. Okay, so that is also going to be a lot better compared to a mechanical clutch, despite the fact that they're still good, but this is going to be better.
The speed's slower, which also goes to help the life expectancy of it as well, but it's not going to allow you to over-speed the machine and potentially run the risk of tightening something up too much. So again, taking care of that torque accuracy.
When it comes to the accuracy, I would argue there's probably not much in it. My personal opinion, however, is I have a personal experience that I feel like that this, at least me mentally, seems to be more accurate. It just seems to switch off and make sure that I'm not accidentally over tightening something, even though the clutch is engaged.
The thing I struggled with this is it's so quiet and so uneventful that I find I've got to go back and check it again to make sure that it is actually the right torque. But you do get to believe in it quite quickly.
It's the kind of tool that you can give to someone that you've got no faith that they can use the tool properly, and you're worried they might hurt themselves, but they won't hurt themselves because it's kickback control, plus it's got that nice slow RPM, and it just switches off like that, okay? So the fact that it's an E-clutch also means the machine can be a little lighter weight and gives you a lot more granularity and custom settings that you can set, as opposed to mechanical clutch, where, yes, you've got 20 settings, but you can't be as precise because you have to work within those settings. Okay. And then the last thing, obviously, is the fact that with your electronic clutch that you're setting it, okay, as opposed to a mechanical one, you've got absolute traceability when it comes to what settings being used for what fixing in what time. So you can trace the number of times you've done something to what setting etc., etc. So you've just got the ability to read all that data, which you can't do, obviously, with a mechanical clutch. Okay, Ollie, I'm going to pause for a second, mostly because I want to set up for the next demo, which is going to be looking at the NFC. But in the meantime, have we had any questions about what we've discussed, or have we put people to sleep yet?
We wouldn't hear.
I mean, but there's still people going. They're still going. Jerome wants to know: do you have, or is there any CM or CMK data for this tool? I'm not sure which one that was on though. Just in general, CM or CMK data.
I'm not familiar with that acronym. No. I'll have to take that away and check it. Danny and I do our best. However, the industrial products is a very deep topic.
The training course over in Germany is 4 days long.
And there's 12 training modules.
12 training modules.
Yeah.
And we've been trained to a degree by people who got trained on that 4-day course. So there are some finite elements of the system that we don't fully understand.
But I can take that away and have a look at it. A lot of what makes the IW training quite complex is actually to do with things like programming these devices, the holsters and the cloud-based, the actual software and hardware, because it's not plug and play. There's a lot of stuff that has to be built, like these stations that we built earlier in the week. And there's a lot of flexibility in how you can modify that into a professional assembly line. We are far more specialized on the tools more than anything.
Yes.
But we'll find out. I'll take that question and I'll ask one of the product managers just to double check that, because I can't.
It's more checking on the infrastructure of the system rather than the actual tools themselves. So yeah, we can look into that.
I'll have a look. Next question, Ollie. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, it's all good. This one is from, and I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this, Seishan. They're asking, is this tool like the GSX18V-285? And that's in regards to the IDS18V-200T.
So that is it like the? It sounds like you said, is it like the normal E-class tool?
Is it anything similar to the GSX?
GDX?
Or GDX?
GDX is the...
It's a 2-in-1.
It's a 2-in-1.
No, I would say. I mean,
fundamentally,
they're impactors.
They're both impactors.
But that's where the similarity ends, right?
Basically, the similarity ends there. It's like we covered, everything within the tool is completely bespoke, made for that tool, and it's made for longevity and accuracy above all things else.
So I'm not sure. Just one more time, Ollie, because it's late in the day. What's the model number of that GDX?
285.
285.
Oh yes, no, that's the.
No, then I would say it's more similar to the 220s.
220, yeah.
Right, because the 220s obviously had the AB.
That was the GSR. GDR, sorry.
Yeah, but the GDX had it too. The 210 had it, didn't it?
Yes, it did have the same AB functionality,
but
a rudimentary version of it.
Yeah, so
it wouldn't be where we are now without that, though.
Yeah, so it's more like the GDX 210 and the GDR 220,
yes,
but not the EXDRs.
So the 220 is now the EXDR.
But that doesn't have custom app functions. So I would say it's even less similar.
No, it's closer to that. If you're lucky enough to have the 220,
God, you started
and the app functionality, then that's the closest you would get without going for.
Now we've been told,
but it's not.
Yeah, but we've been told off because apparently we use too many acronyms. This is very Bosch, right? This is how we show how smart we are by going, is it this one? Is it this? No. So to answer your question, it's more like the Freak or the GDX that had the connectivity, the C models.
Yes.
Because with that one, you had the ability to tweak two custom modes, and that was an algorithm-based auto switch off. So that's the most similar to the impactors, the IDRs and the IDSs we looked at, but it's not the same.
It's not torque specific.
Yeah.
It's
time.
It's time.
But the algorithm's not the same.
It was kind of just obviously making multiple fastenings as close as they could.
So I'd argue
there was no torque value allocated to it.
Yeah, I'd say it's similar, but the algorithms used are so much more advanced on the industrial tools. Yeah. And that's only one part of the element, the equation, sorry. Yeah, don't forget better triggers, better clutches, all that kind of stuff.
Gearboxes.
Yeah, all of that is improved. Similar, same ballpark, but not the same. It's not apples and oranges yet, but it's very close to it. Yeah. Oh, that's a long way of saying Yeah, maybe similar.
A bit.
It depends what you need. Cost-wise, providing you don't need a 2-in-1 tool fitting, because we don't have 2-in-1.
Not
Don't have an
production,
X
no.
fitment on industrial yet. Maybe we will in the future. Unless you
I
need
don't
that.
think there'd be much call for it, but you never know.
Agreed. Getting distracted by yes, I'm thinking of ideas that it could be useful in some cases. Yeah. But unless you don't need that, and what you actually need is you need a tool that's got that torque tolerance and industrial internals, then I would say go for an industrial impactor.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the thing you might want to, the thing you're trying to avoid with both of those solutions is over tightening. They can both do it. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Another question.
Yeah, another question before
Even
I
I
go.
was nodding off there.
Yeah, exactly. I was nodding off to myself.
Yeah, I was as well. PF asks, your industrial tool range is for precise work. Then why not have the Bluetooth connectivity module, as those precise settings that module provides is necessary, surely, right?
Okay.
It's all to do with speed of transfer, I think it is, and the amount of data you're transferring. I think that's why we went with NFC.
Maybe, yeah. I think also the fact that we do have Bluetooth in industrial, but that's a far more expensive system. The connectivity modules that we had in our existing professional tools, I reckon, weren't good enough for an industrial. That's why we never used that for industrial.
We also had the coin cell batteries in there as well, so that's another thing that could go wrong. This is basically a chip on a board.
Exactly, and I would argue perhaps for an industrial setting that the additional potential failure of that connectivity module in the system would not meet industrial requirements. If you're a tradie, it would piss you off, I agree. It'll be inconvenient. But again, if you're on an assembly line and your Bluetooth module fails, then that would be...
Well, how would you know? You could do the rest of your day's work and then all of a sudden you get pulled up for not doing any work for the second half of the day.
So NFC...
And all of that data is lost as well.
So NFC being easier to... It's basically virtually energy free, doesn't have any drain on the machine of any kind. And at the moment, you'll see in a minute, is pretty reliable and does what you need it to do without any additional costs and expenses and potential areas of failure. So yeah, but we're going to reserve things like Bluetooth for our older technology. And I think even we'll be seeing that NFC is going to be what goes in and replaces our connectivity feature set within the IW Exacts. Because we're going to be using this holster system for them as well. And this is also this is NFC. Okay.
And ridiculously cheap as well.
Yeah, I think that's the main driver. It's cost, reliability, all those factors all come together for this.
The Bluetooth setup that we originally had for the Exact tools, for instance, the clear crystal box that you put on the wall that everything communicated with, ridiculously expensive. I've seen the prices of that over $4,000 just for a box.
Yeah, and look, I'm not claiming to be an expert, but I know that when you have at least on certain levels of Bluetooth. If you have loads of devices all trying to run off the same bandwidth, then it becomes, the best way I can describe it is muddy.
Yes.
Right, and that's what you don't want. For the NFC system, there's no misunderstanding. The range is so short that we're not going to be putting this on a station and picking up someone else's station. It's much. You're talking about this kind of distance. Yeah. So I think as a technology, it's newer, and I think it works for this far better. So we've embraced it. Yeah. Cool. Ollie, sorry mate, carry on.
No, that's all good. A couple more. Sishan asks, how do you know when you need to repair the tools, or I'm guessing when they come to the end of their life cycle?
You might see it in a minute because we're going to go into the NFC app or the Pro 360 app. You can see things like maintenance reminders. They will be programmed into some of these devices, particularly the impactors or the ones that have got the interface, including this ISR. So you will see an indicator light come on the back once the either default or the custom set maintenance reminder comes up. You'll have, I think the original one will be, was it for the clutch? No, I think it's the clutch and or gearbox one, maintenance one, and then it's trigger and gearbox at the same time for the second one, I believe. Yeah. And then I think the third one is probably more cost effective to get a new machine by that stage, because we're talking about quite a long way down the line there.
Remember, we're not talking about huge investments in those machines anyway, so.
Yeah. So yes, answer your question. Maintenance reminder can be programmed into the individual devices that have that NFC functionality. All good, Ollie?
One or two more. If that's all good.
Sure.
Yeah, and sorry everyone, my microphone was turned off. I forgot to turn it back on again. My bad. I'll try and keep them relevant. Could you get a bigger size of this impact wrench you currently have on the worktop? How much M/S the drill breaks its torque compared to expert tool at similar size and settings?
I presumed we were talking about the 650, maybe? This isn't an impact wrench, so might need to clarify that one. At the moment, if we are talking about the 650,
Yeah.
maybe we'll go for bigger torque. I mean, obviously, when you get to really high torques,
Yeah.
it becomes harder and harder to accurately measure the torque that you're delivering. There are other ways to do that we are looking at. Can't tell you too much, but there are ways that you can do that. You have to add some elements to the tool to measure. I think that's fair enough to say. We'll see. This as a category of tools for us is only the beginning.
Oh, certainly, yeah. I mean, we've seen something last week that...
it's great. One, two, multiple things.
Yeah,
yeah.
The one in specific that I was really taken about.
Yeah, we do have
amazing.
We do have a good job sometimes.
Yeah.
We get to see some really cool stuff, and you guys just have to keep pestering us. Go what? Can't tell you. So yes, to answer your question, at the moment 650 is the maximum torque. We will see if we are going for higher torque, but there are actually quite a lot of tools at a lower torque value that are actually, that's typically things we are looking at. Really high torque tools and not really in this kind of industrial range for us. Not yet, anyway.
Not yet, no. But it's an ever increasing range. Again, it's still fairly in its infancy. What was it, last year we started on the industrial tools? I think it was.
Probably not more than a year and a bit, to be honest,
Yeah, so it's amazing that we've got this far already, and we're pushing the technology constantly. It's not something we're resting on.
Any more, Ollie?
Yeah, last one for now. Bol says, is industrial better than expert? If I just want bragging rights over my friends. Bernie follows up and says, it depends on whether your friends are more impressed by muscles or by precision.
Incorrect answer. Incorrect, because it's not about power, if you're talking about expert. It's about who's got the more money.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Expert's obviously going to be the more expensive option, but they're going to have really great benefits. Industrial tools are not expensive.
No.
So unless you're going to brag about how precise your tools are, they'll be like, it's not very expensive.
Exactly.
So, price isn't...
Depends how you want to be Billy Big Spuds.
That's right,
That's basically how you go.
It'll be very hard to impress. It's very hard to impress people down the pub with my tools plus and minus 15% torque tolerance.
If you're looking at expert, really.
However, if you can tell me where those pubs are, I'm going to go. I'll go down there. I've got someone that will want to talk to me about torque tolerance.
That's a daring new pickup line.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes, 15%.
Plus or minus.
Plus and minus. Hey, you'll see in a minute. No, actually, no. We'll see in a minute when we talk about torque tolerances, because we want to go and do a demonstration in one of the workshops. You'll see exactly what we're talking about in regards to torque tolerances. That's really what you're talking about. Expert, there are lots of other things about expert, but typically you're talking about the most powerful tool, the most safety features, the biggest cutting capacity, as well as that 5-year warranty. So quite different.
Yes.
Maybe. Maybe you might see more industrial elements making it into expert tools. Maybe we'll get better triggers and more expensive gearboxes. But I think we'll leave expert as is for now. I think that's well established what that's trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Ollie.
And so far, I mean, tightening talks has all been academic, really.
Yeah.
And we need a real example.
Yep. Agreed. Ollie. Yes. Ollie. Any more?
Yeah. Just I was going to end it there, but one more. It was a pretty good question. Furby asks, does Bosch have industrial range selection of bits, hex, torque plus, safety type, etc.?
That would be the expert range.
I would argue that our pro and expert range of accessories, I mean, if we're talking about things like these, they are typically all pro, aren't they?
Yeah, the adapters and things like that.
Yeah,
and sockets are pro.
And I would say that they are already of a high enough quality.
I mean, an impact socket is an impact socket at the end of the day. I don't know what you could add to it to make it an expert impact socket. Maybe thinner sidewalls, maybe. But currently, no.
It's a good question to ask. I've kind of only partially thought about it. We obviously just use our professional range, our pro range of accessories, and you can see an example here. They are already high quality. I'm pretty sure that the guys that help sell these in are also selling in the same accessories. I don't know whether or not there are really superior accessories that are used for industrial requirements. Just have some more. And cycle them through. That's what you do. I think if you're talking about large assembly lines, these are easily consumables. They're not bothered about that.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't buy full socket sets, would you? If you're using maybe 3 separate sockets, you'd buy those 3 sockets singularly, or in a bulk buy situation.
Yeah. So in summary, I would say that hey, if you want high quality accessories, tool fitment, sockets, whatever, you can't go wrong with the pro range.
No,
and where there is expert.
I use these at home myself when I'm working on a car, and I've never had any problems with them at all. They're absolutely, and actually, they've really got thin. I don't know what they. I
don't know what worst you need. You know, that's what we're trying to say, isn't it?
Actually, yeah, really thin walls on the side of the sockets anyway. So, getting into places like I don't know, wheel nuts without scuffing the wheels or anything like that. Yeah, they're really low profile.
Yeah, I was looking at the packaging for one of them just to point out. Yeah, all the pro stuff's great. Yeah. So sorry. I would say standard accessories, standard pro accessories already top notch. Yeah. Sorry, Ollie, any more? Or should we do an NFC demo?
Yeah, last bit, and then we'll go back to it. And it's just Bowles asking, can you two come to his wedding?
Oh, 2 weddings in a year. 2 weddings in a year. What, guest speakers?
No, don't encourage.
What would you like me to talk about? Would you like to talk about? No. I am multifaceted. If you want to talk about other things like bonded abrasive safety,
yes.
Yep, I am very happy to do a.
Don't get him started on dust. Wow, loves a bit of dust.
Well, as you know, if you missed the live stream on dust, that was at least 9 hours that we did between the two of us.
Yes.
So if you'd like me to talk about silica dust and silicosis, very morbid, but maybe that'd be your kind of bag. Or maybe you'd like to know the difference between M and H class. Forget L.
Yeah,
L class isn't important. Yeah. Or maybe you'd like to know more about filtration levels and the necessary for an airflow alarm. Feel free to hit me up. I don't know how much I can charge. I'll have to ask my boss if I'm allowed to cross charge in my own time. Yeah. For weddings.
Whoa. Charge. If there's food going.
I think now you're going to now defer to Daniel because he's free. And I'm expensive.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm getting a look from the team. So, Chris.
I think we should move on.
Weddings are not part of our job responsibilities yet.
Or bar mitzvahs. Don't do them either.
No, we're not allowed out this this room. Essentially, yep. Getting the message of chop. Getting hungry. Half 6, and we are nearly through. But there's a few things we want to show. So, first things is, I want to show you NFC. Okay, so for those who may be joining a little late. Rebecca, cut in and show this little icon here. So what we've got on the tools that are applicable is going to be this little logo here. And this hides basically the NFC, near field connectivity sensor. Danny made a mention by saying, correct. It's very much like your bank card.
Yes.
Your contactless. Thank you. Yes. We're struggling with that today.
Yep.
And what you would use is you'd use your smartphone and you would bring that up and then you'd have to know where on your phone the sensor is. Luckily, I know where on this phone it's up at the top, and you want to bring that as close as you can to the actual sensor. Let's see if the overhead is going to be working and playing ball.
Your personal phone?
No, this is the work phone. Okay, so I'm going to cut to this actual screen in a minute, but I want to show that we want to be in this area here when actually activating it. Ollie, if you want to cut to the actual phone for a second, I just want to see that works. Perfect. So you can see I've got quite a few logged in here. I actually have 2 ISR18V-50s, so I need to know which one it is. Luckily, it's the one I played with an hour ago. So I can simply select that. Now, I would have already added this to my phone the same way you would register a tool via the Pro360 app. Look, you might have to move our picture-in-picture. Okay, right, so first thing I want to do is I want to tap to refresh. So that comes up, and all I'm going to do is bring the phone towards the sensor. I get a little tick, okay, and then we are in data transfer success. So you can see already we've got loads of great options. There's the maintenance reminder we talked about earlier, so let's have a quick look at it. So you can see here, I can toggle it off if I want, and I can also see how long I've got until I get the maintenance reminder. We've not had these for very long at all, so that's fine, okay. Here's your adjustment torque lock. So you can see I haven't enabled this, but if I was to enable it, I have to go and, hold on. Just 1 second, sorry. Okay. Bear in mind, sometimes while we're talking with the tool will switch off. And you can see here that we can lock the talks that we have enabled. So we can select from this list and then enable the lock. I don't want that, so I'm going to switch that off. Okay, I guess I have to apply settings and make sure that I then recommunicate the content or recommunicate the signal to the phone, from the phone to the tool, sorry. Custom talk settings, you see here that this is the thing that I quite like, is the fact that yes, you've got your 12 talk settings, but you can see here with sliders, then I can also have multiple integers.
So you can you place them in between the numbers on the...
That's right, yeah. So instead of just having to be 3 to 4, I've got 3, I'm going to use the word integer again because it makes me sound super smart. But you can see you can have these intermediates in between. So you've got 3 in between each of the normal 1 to 12 talk settings.
It's going to take more than that, by the way.
Nah, not to impress you. I'll keep trying.
That sounds smart.
I'll keep trying. Okay, so I'm going to customize custom setting 1, apply settings, and then same thing again. Well, except if I do it correctly, Chris. Come on.
Sorry, distracted you.
Yeah. Sometimes when you do a live demo, it always goes wrong, eh? Do you know what? I won't dwell on it. I'll do it on the next one. Here you can see you can select your favorite talk settings. So that basically allows you to kind of remove them from the interface if you don't want to see it. And then you've got other things like you can switch the buzzer off, you can switch kickback control on or off, okay? So you can change all the different settings that you'd like. Now this is all done manually via a phone and the app. We also have the ability to do a lot of this via programming of the next thing that we'll show later, which is the holster.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I wanted to, I'll keep the custom talk settings on, that's fine, so I want to use them, just want to check everything here. I'm not going to do that. So I think I've actually, that's right here. I'm not going to use the custom talk settings, so I want to switch those off, apply that. Let's try that one more time. Oh, I know what I've been doing wrong. Easy to forget.
It's gone to sleep.
Machine's gone to sleep. Let's try that again. Okay. Okay, it's an easy mistake to make when you are distracted by talking. Go. Okay, so now the machine. Okay, we can jump out of that screen now, Ollie. Cool. And in theory, if I've done everything right, there we go. Show the back of the tool there. You'll see that we no longer have, or we do, yeah, that's it, cool. I can cycle up to 12H, and you can see now the custom settings are gone because I've taken them away. Partly because I don't need them anymore, but you can take away settings, add them, whatever you need to. So the NFC settings on this tool has probably the most in-depth, but we could do the same for any of the other NFC-enabled tools.
Yeah.
Gives you ability to program tools, lock it, for a precise fitting, soft, hard joint, whatever, lock it, and then hand it to your operative, and then there's no worries. Nothing can, nothing.
Nothing can go
Things have been, yeah, the things that can go wrong have been vastly reduced. Okay, so I think what we do is have a little bit of a break. What I think we'll do is we'll just play a little quick video to give me a second to go and set up for the next part of the demonstration, which is I really want to show how torque tolerance is measured and how accurate these tools are. So let's have a quick little video break and I'll see you in a few minutes. So as you can see, I quickly left Dan in the studio and come to our workshop number 2, partly because I wanted to utilize this. We call this our big black box. And essentially this is the demonstration device that we use to show torque tolerance, especially with our industrial tools. What we've got here is in this particular case, I've got a hard joint, okay? And that is attached to a transducer, which reads through this device onto the screen behind you. What we can do now is we can map out each individual fixing and show you exactly how much torque we are delivering each time. When we plot all the values on the graph, it'll obviously show you how much of a deviance we've got from the min max, give us an average, and also our deviation from the maximum and the minimum value. Okay, I'll start off first with using an expert tool. So we're going to give the Bosch standard power tools, the expert tools, a fighting chance, although these are not designed to be torque tolerant like an industrial one, but we decided to go for this tool to make it, or give it, a fighting chance. Okay, just going to check everything's set. I'm going to set this for torque level 5 on the clutch here, but remember these are meaningless linear units, but we're trying to show the consistency between each individual fixing while on this setting. Right, let's go. The trick here is to try and make sure I minimize the amount of movement while doing the operation to ensure that I'm giving the most accurate values. Okay, 6.6 Newton meters. Need to reset, and I'm just going to do 9 more values. Just need to break off some torque. One more. Okay, had a slight little hiccup at the beginning there. You can see that's caused a big delta. My average, however, is about 3.82 Newton meters, but I've got a few outliers, and that has resulted with me having a 59% deviation. So let's now swap over to our exact tool. Okay, I need to make some changes to the settings because this is a different tool. I'll clear the values as well. Now that's, as you can see, with a normal power tool, which again is not designed to be torque tolerant. These drivers, you're using a lot more brain power. But if you're doing fittings that really need to be precise, as we say, for assembly and manufacturing, that's why we have brought out our industrial tools here to make sure that you're getting really good tight torque tolerances. All right, let me just take this, reset this, and ready to go. Okay, and we'll do exactly the same thing. Let me reset that. Okay. One point I should point out as well, actually, obviously on the ISR18V-50 E, is the fact that this has an E clutch. So I've set this for torque setting 1. And because I have the interface on the back, I can see as an operator every single time I do a fixing to see whether or not I've achieved the correct torque value that I set the tool for. Hopefully the chart will replicate that. Okay. You'll also see when I'm actually doing the fixings how much more pleasant the tool is to use. 5.66, and I'm going to do another 9. Okay, look at that for a value. So, with obviously the precision internals, the E clutch as well, the ability to set the torque, I've now resulted here on an average of 5.72 Newton meters. But you can see my deviation is so much lower now here at 4%, which means again, well below what we claim as 15% on this particular application. So if you have jobs that require specific tight torque tolerances, then you can see exactly why an industrial tool is probably the tool you need to be using. Okay, enough of me. Back to the studio, Dan, and I'll see you in just a minute.
So, well done, Chris. That looked remarkably accurate. That worked out absolutely perfectly. What we want to talk about next is we have the cradle kit, the holster, and the items that come with it, such as the NIF NFC reader and the hub itself, or the main console. So basically the machine fits in this hub, sits just there. The NFC reader sits right next to that NFC sensor in there, picks up any data as well. So instead of having a mobile phone, for instance, which you pass over the machine, as Chris showed earlier, this reads from the machine every time it's returned into the hub. So, for instance, you have a certain amount of fixings to do. Say, for example, we have this set up for 6 fixings. Then you return it back to the hub again. It logs those 6 fixings immediately, and then that allows the conveyor belt, the next vehicle, the next item that's being built to pass down the production line, and then you start again and do your next section of fastenings. So yeah, really quite a straightforward little kit.
Started about me.
Yeah. So yeah, really quite a little compact kit we have here, but this is really, you don't need the frame or anything. You fix this to the substructure that you already have at your workstations, and it's literally a matter of picking the machine up, doing your 4 cycles, returning it to the base station. It will give you a horrible sound and an amber light to tell you you haven't done it properly. You give you a red light if you haven't done it properly as well, and it also you give you the green light to say that all completed, everything can move on.
Right, yes.
You can also fit this with a traffic light system as well, so you'd have that above a workstation, so they know they can't move the belt on until it's all completed.
Yeah, I think the real benefit of this is, one, it's actually very cost effective. Again, in the past we've had very, very expensive systems in the past, partly because that's what technology was back then. Was it Bluetooth controllers, for example, that were significantly more expensive than this is. There's also a level of modularity, so you can customize stuff. This and the other rig that we'll show later is a very basic version, but because you've basically got an I/O port on the ISN, then you can essentially have lots of different outputs. If you want this to go to a traffic light system, you can. If you want it to go to an external buzzer, or you'll see later, if you want this to go to an external monitoring station, with specialist software that we also supply, you can do that as well.
Basically a server that stores all of the data,
Correct,
and then that can be downloaded whenever required.
So I saw, obviously I was out the room, so you've already talked about the different parts you get.
Yep, there's also the holster as well. Didn't talk about the holster. So
Yep.
I believe they've got the box back there.
Well, here's an example. So yes, we obviously sell the holsters for these products. We also supply the 3D print designs for any of the industrial tools that we don't currently manufacture a holster for. And we will be expanding this to our IW Exact range as well. Because you'll be finding that those will be NFC as well, but they'll need a holster system to fit. Because as you can see, as Dan's probably pointed out already, the reader has to be close to where the module is going to be.
For the angle exacts, which are about this long, you probably have like almost a cradle that you just slot it into, or it drops it down into. As long as it's the NFC reader here is next to that sensor inside the machine, then all works. All the same system, everything's the same.
I don't have one. We should have actually brought one that wasn't part of a rig, but obviously we've just got a bit carried away and put them all into the rigs. But there is a number of things that are on the ISN, for example. I don't know where to start. We could start with the fact that if you are into your nerdy stuff.
An image from the back of that, maybe?
Maybe you can see that. So obviously we're going to talk about this cable up here. Okay, so this is running on an RS48.
An angle that you can kind of see. Yeah, that's just the power lead that you can see there. So this one here, that's theirs as power lead. That comes in from obviously mains voltage and goes into this green plug at the bottom here, which is your MSTB power connector.
Just as a caveat, it's not mains, but it's 24 volts.
Sorry, 24 volts, but with the mains, we're running on the mains transformer currently. You've got 2 USB ports there that can be used for the NFC reader, but you can also have a barcode reader on that as well. So you can have a job come through, it'll have a barcode on it, you can scan that, and then obviously it can update the torque settings directly to the machine. So it's all centrally controlled.
If you, for example, we described it already, you could have multiple tools, of course, but you could have multiple barcodes on one station for the for the engineer to do multiple different jobs. But again, you want to keep control over the process and make sure that there isn't any wiggle room to make mistakes, that the machines are set up correctly. All of this can be done via both barcode and QR code, actually. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So on the underside here, we have the I/O port, as you were talking about before. I can't really see it on the camera, but believe me, it's down there. And we also have an Ethernet port as well. So crossover cable, I think you use one of these ones.
That's right, yes. And you'll see that's going to be useful for some more of the more complex stuff that we won't go into too much detail. We'll just go very, very top line on. But if you're running some kind of reporting or management hub system, which we actually obviously supply the technology for, the software, then...
It's very good. We've played around with it. It's very good.
So you can have this whole unit obviously give data to the operative at the station and or to a central hub as well.
Exactly, yeah. And using this I/O port, we've obviously got plugged in down here a little reader, which currently says ready. I can pop that in the centre there. You'll be able to see it on the above camera, hopefully.
Yeah.
Is that right? Go to the... there you go.
We'll give it a twist.
Yeah, there you go. So you can see the machine in the holster. Top here, we've got a little reset button, and it says, if I can get that right, ready, down at the bottom here. So this will turn into, once it's rebooted, it will load up the parameters for the test that we're going to do, and yeah, it will give me hopefully 6 fixings to do. So
yeah, I'm going to try and tweak. I'm going to try and just adjust this so because obviously the back of the tool is lovely to see, but we don't necessarily need to. See, we're not going to get that till play ball, are we? So we'll leave that there. Fine, okay.
You'll be able to, although it's a little out of focus, the thing here, you can still read on there what it says. So I'm going to simulate 6 fixings by holding the chuck, operating it at its lowest torque.
Yeah, let's cut to the wide ollie just so we can see what Dan's going to do, and then once he puts it back in the holster, we'll have a look and see what it's reading.
Right. So if I've got to reboot that first.
So a button on the top actually is a manual switch. That could be to reset the cycle. You can program it so that every time you put it in the holster, it automatically resets, or you can reset it manually.
Yep. So I'm going to take this out of the holster, and I will do my, as it says on here, 6 operations. So 1, 2, 3. Say, for instance, I forget where I am, forget what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I return this to the holster. I've done something seriously wrong. It says on here.
How do you know, Dan?
I've done 3
well, I think,
out of the 6.
Yeah, so obviously the light, the terrible buzzing noise is a reminder that you've haven't done your job properly. And on this case, as Dan's pointed out, we have an I/O readout. So
then I go, oh, hang on, I forgot those other 3 fixings. There you go, 6 out of 6. Moves on to the next program.
Correct.
Car comes down and I refit the next wheel arch liner or whatever item it is that I need to fix.
Now that I/O could be a traffic light system without any numbers. It could be
both.
Could be both. Okay, so you've got the flexibility to whatever kind of readout unit you can have. You can have that plugged in and wired through the I/O port via the adapter to whatever, multiple or singular. Yeah. So that's a kind of a top line way of looking at how you can make this perfect for a fixed bench assembly line. I wouldn't necessarily say this is the kind of thing you'd be doing if you're mobile. That's why you'd have. I think we call it. Is it not first stage? Level 1?
Level 1. Yeah.
Level 1 is what we've been describing with, obviously, the back of the tool talking to you. This is what we'll describe as level 2. Later on, we'll very, very briefly, before we finish this live stream, we'll at least explain the concept and some screenshots on what level 3 could result. If you really want to have a really sophisticated system.
I would say that was more for your larger production plants, maybe car plants, or white goods, for instance, maybe assembling microwaves, fridges, freezers, that sort of thing. But yeah, application from top tier.
Yeah. So for clarity, the ISN 24G as well as the IFC 136R, catchy names. Yeah. So obviously the controller and the NFC reader, they're compatible with the entire range of these new D-class industrial tools, and they should be coming to, or they will be available to the exact models. Those ones I think can be upgraded upon request. So if you already have a relationship with us and you're using the exact tools, then I think it's have a word. I don't know if it's available yet or whether or not it's coming to the near future, but that is going to be a rolling update if you need it to transfer from whatever system you've got currently, or if you want to add NFC is what I should say, to your existing exact range. My demo is a little bit more rudimentary. Dan had the more sophisticated one. My one's just showing.
Sounded a little bit too keen. Finally.
Okay, so again, similar kind of setup. My one is going to. Where's my accessory?
Have you got your?
And maybe my demo is not going to. Oh, there it is. Yeah, cool. So I kind of already did it before when I did a level 1 demonstration to show that on these bolts, I, as a user operating, look at the back and go, oh, I didn't do a good job of that, and it's going to complain. My one's set up slightly differently, so I'd have to reset it. Beep, tells me I'm ready to go, so I can take it out the holster and do my application. In this case, I'm going to tighten that on. Good. I'm going to then get distracted like Dan did, pop it back in. I've got no meter telling me anything, but I have an annoying beep and an amber light. So I'm like, oh great, that wasn't very good. I'm going to pretend I'm going to do that and go, oh, done an even worse job again, and it's going to complain saying, you've done a terrible job of that as well. Okay, I'm going to loosen this one off for a second. Where am I?
You've really
I tightened that one too much now.
Kickback, there you go, it's all working.
Yeah, kickback's working well. Okay. Do my 2 fixings, because I believe, hopefully I programmed that one to 2 fixings, and then I'll get a green beep and say, well done, Chris, you did a good job.
Yeah.
You may get paid.
Yes.
Okay, so you can have it, as Dan's got it, with a little bit more extra, plugged in via the I/O, or you can have it just bare bones, with just the controller and the holster unit, and there's enough here to get you started. Okay, so if you don't have a big setup, and you don't need it, you can do level 1, level 2, or in this case, we'll show in a minute, we've got some screenshots of what you can do with level 3. Okay, Ollie, I think you've got some little screenshots that we can show. So obviously you can use basically a crossover Ethernet cable that goes onto the actual holster system, the controller, and then that can be plugged into what we call our management hub software. Now this is a paid software system that we offer. We are going to offer. I think it's a bit early days. We're still working and developing it, but in very, very shortly, this will be available for you to basically purchase, and then you would get basically it's basically like a subscription service where you've got access to this cloud-based server system that allows you to have multiples of these. I think it's 10 per license.
10 per license. Yep.
And you can see here on this on the example here. This is an example of good job. Ollie, if you bring the other one back for an example, so you can see what happens if you did a failure, and you can see you've only done one, done it incorrectly.
It's pretty straightforward.
And you can have a monitor at the station, so the operator's doing his job, and he can see exactly what is incorrect. I mean, 2 fittings is hardly complex, but you could have quite a lot of things that you need to make sure are all correct on station A1, for example, and then next image, Ollie, and then once they're all done, you've done your 3 required. Good. Green light, off you go.
That's before you started, so that's the next job.
Oh, that's finished. Job assignment successful. Then you could manually press the reset button, and then you could move on. It could be the button on the controller. It could be a separate button. It could be whatever. So you can have so much flexibility to set this process, this assembly line, exactly how you like. Right. So I've had I've had my ears burning, saying, "God, these guys go on a bit." No. Yes, we do. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the Bosch Professional live stream. It's 7 p.m. The waffling is necessary because we want to try and round it off to a predictable time.
If it's bothering you, they're waffling.
Watch it as a video later.
Watch it as a video later. It becomes a video later on, and you can fast forward through all of the waffling.
2 times speed is a function on YouTube.
Yes.
It's sometimes useful. Okay, so we are basically done. We've covered all the things we wanted to talk about. So I think what we should do, Ollie, is do a quick roundup, maybe relatively semi-quick fire Q&A questions, and then we'll call it an evening, go get some dinner, and get some sleep.
Yes.
Let's go. What we got, Ollie?
Yeah, unfortunately you can't fast forward real life.
No.
I'm stuck with these 2, so...
Likewise.
Yeah, you guys are lucky, to be honest.
He's paid. He's paid to be
I
here.
literally have to be paid to talk to these people. Ricardo asks, will there be a blue/professional PBD40 drill press?
That's what we were talking about earlier. We would love to see one.
What do you reckon?
What do you think? Would you make one, Ollie, if you have the opportunity?
Nah.
Well, you're wrong.
That's right. So based on what Ollie's opinion, that means we're definitely getting one.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think we can say it's been on the roadmap for a while. We may have seen some inklings, but that's all we can say.
Did you realise that actually on Ollie's camera you can see the live stream feed? I usually use cut into Q&A to scratch an itch or something, and I've realised I may have made a mistake during this live stream.
Yes. I wanted to do
We've all seen it. We all saw
Everyone's
it.
seen it. Yeah. Oh no, we've made a mistake. we've shown the back. We've shown the back behind the scenes live.
Yeah, I read that.
Now you're gonna have to watch it back again.
If you saw any interesting screen grabs, feel free to share them on the comments section. What has Dan been doing in the background? What you notice? Yeah, Ollie, any more questions, mate?
Yep. Say, Sean, what does ABR mean? And the metal locking beam icon on his GDX 18V-285.
Me or you? I'll do half. You do the other half.
When which one of us is going to do it wrong? ABR.
Just don't waffle. Don't
automatic bolt release or automatic bolt retention?
Well, it should be retention, but we
Yes.
like the word release.
Yes.
We've had it since the GDS 18V-300 ABR, which has got to be at least 7 years old now. It's an algorithm that when you break the nut, loosen the nut, it will spin for a number of predetermined rotations, time-based, and then switch off.
Yeah.
On later machines, we had the ability to modify that, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly. Just imagine you're a scaffolder and you're taking clamps off of scaffolding. Maybe you break it down. You don't want to drop that nut or the washer on the clamp,
The whole thing, yeah.
on potentially someone who's standing below you. So it will back off the thread. You can program it enough for you to be able to loosen
On some machines, yeah.
the clamp and then disassemble it without losing all the nuts off the end.
That's right. For the 285.
That's one example.
Yeah, that's fair. But for the 285, obviously what we've done since we invented ABR, we've both had the dumb version, the super smart version, and then we've gone back to the simplified version. That's a predefined algorithm on the 285.
Yeah.
So, but it's
very useful. If you're taking wheels off the car and you don't want it to fall off, then you can back the nuts off and then you can control closer as you take it in.
It's
So lots of applications. It makes a lot of sense.
So on your model, you can't control how long that until the delay happens, so it doesn't switch off. You can't change when it switches off, but it's a Goldilocks value. So typically speaking, in nearly all your applications, it will be enough to loosen the nut, unwind it, but not drop it off the spindle, off the thread. Sorry. Yeah. The other function you got is basically your metal nut. It's in the forward motion, so obviously ABR only works in reverse. The other function that you're describing is your metal fixing mode for the 285. And that means it's basically kind of the opposite. So it's like an auto stop mode. So if you're using self-tappers or you're working in, say, putting screws into thin roofing, for example, metal roofing, the last thing you want to do is over torque those screws and tear the heads off.
Yeah.
So what that does is it limits the torque. So you'll go into the metal, torque down to a predefined setting that the tool is designed for. So you can't modify it on that machine and then automatically switch off.
Exactly.
If you need to tighten more, you can. You just have to press the trigger again. But it does help prevent that initial chance of destroying the heads straight away. Yeah. So those are both automatically preset values. Whoa. Cool. Next one.
Supposed to be quick fire.
There's no
Zero waffling in there.
that was perfectly concise, but that's what you have to do to explain the features.
Yeah.
This is a problem sometimes for us. Our tools are sometimes too smart for their own good. We have to explain it. Yeah.
Verbose is a good word as well.
Very Bosch, very German.
Very.
Yes, please, Ollie.
Alexander, I'm going to bundle this one actually with Fragroni later on because they're kind of similar. Would be nice if Bosch released a 12-volt digital torque wrench and also 12-volt battery when?
Sounds like he might have been searching the dark web. Yes. Powered torque wrench would be great. It would be great for this demo.
Yes, it would be fantastic. Wouldn't it be a perfect world if we produced something like that?
I think that is going to be a stay tuned.
I think it is.
Please, next question.
We're currently at the bottom of the chat right now, but just one from Dave's Workbench, and he's asking, will the next live stream be about the new tools currently available on the German website?
Oh, I thought you were going to say these blurry things behind us.
The what now?
Maybe.
Maybe.
No, we can't possibly comment.
No.
Yes, that some of the products have prematurely leaked onto the internet already.
Yes.
So I think many people are aware that there are some really great products coming out, but we work in a launch window.
Yes.
And we're waiting for launch window
3.
press 3. That means we are duty bound, gagged. We can't talk about it at least till the. I reckon we're going to squeeze something in end of August, so the next live stream.
Yep.
I'm sure we're going to do a little teaser. We'll
Yes.
find out if we're allowed to, of course. Otherwise, you don't have to wait too long. So we'll be talking, and we'll have a live stream in September, right, Dan?
In a hopefully a nice flashy new studio.
That's right. So I think, unfortunately for you guys, you're going to have to be a little patient with us. We would have done it earlier. But we're moving. And so we won't have a studio available for us to do the live stream for the new products until a little later in September. But don't worry, it's the first thing we're going to do as soon as we're set up.
Yeah, we'll be able to make sure at that point that we've got all of the samples and all of the real tools to show you.
If, however, actually, no, you still have to wait a little longer for the next Pro Truck Tour.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll probably see the new T3 or Launch Window 3 products first here. And then if you want to come and see our T3 products in person, if you're in Ireland, of course, then come see Dan and I in person, and we will be very happy to show you as many of the T3 products that we have on the truck.
Make a little break of it. Pop over. Come and see us.
Yeah, please do. Okay. If we're still out of questions, Ollie, I think
just one more.
Okay.
Just more of a statement, really. It's just PF Cutters would like to make an amendment to a previous statement, and he wants to apologise to Rebecca, and he's renamed the band to Rebecca and the Bearded Four, including the Bearded Tall Guy, which is much better.
Good. I think she would appreciate that. She's shaking her head vigorously in the corner, completely perplexed, just slightly to my left there. She's still. Yeah, she's looking. Good idea, PF. I have no idea what genre we would be. I'm hoping it's death metal.
I don't think it will be.
You can get an approving look
What?
from.
That's
what our audience are going to do when they listen to it.
I don't think it's going to be definitely.
Okay, well, I can tell it's past 7 because we're going a bit crazy.
A little bit crazy, yeah.
In summary, I hope you enjoyed this live stream. It was a bit of a departure from our normal stuff.
Yeah.
I hope you at least enjoyed it. Danny and I spoke about the fact that we really wanted to make sure that the D-Class, particularly IW, gets a feature because a lot of people don't even know we've done this stuff in the past. They don't know we're doing this. And many people out there, and we know this, especially in the UK, but in a lot of other places, that they're forced to have to use just normal normal drivers and impactors, and it's not the right tool for them.
Well, they're having to put up with all of the issues that come from either loose fastenings or too tight fastenings.
Exactly, yes. So what we've done with these, in my opinion, is the best of both worlds. We've brought tools that are influenced by the more expensive Rexroth IW and the Bosch Exact IW tools, and brought a lot of that durability and that accuracy, but we brought it in with a super affordable and accessible price point.
Yeah, and when we're talking about price, we're not talking about anything really more than some of our Pro machines.
I think some of the smaller, the ISRs, for example, the 30s,
I think they come in
100 quid, 100 something quid line.
Yeah.
So they are super affordable. So if that interests you, even if you're not using industrial tools right now, even if you're not necessarily doing something that we would traditionally say is manufacturing or assembly, okay, but this has sparked some kind of interest, feel free to check out the range. Maybe we'll try and see whether or not we can get some kind of contact in the description bar so you can have a speak with some of our tool demonstrators. So if you are a medium to large, small to medium company interested in these products, maybe they'll be able to come out and actually come and visit you and basically show you what's on offer and see if these might be a solution for you. If
you're a bit of an amendment actually while we're on the smaller and larger companies. Remember I said that Bluetooth device that we fitted on the wall? The one that we've moved away from now was €2,500.
Yes.
For that one kit. And the cost of something like this is €200. I mean,
it's a huge difference.
So
again, maybe you've always kind of played with the idea of getting into these industrial tools, but obviously the cost of what we had and other people had in the past was just prohibitively expensive. Man, technology's come a long way since we invented those systems. This holster alone with the tools could really transform your processes.
200 euros,
100 and something
100
quid.
and something euros maybe, and the kit.
That's right. Yeah.
That's it. It's got you working now, and I haven't done that properly because I did not do the 6th.
Right. So while Dan's doing that,
I'm going to leave that now because it's throwing a real wobbler now.
fail.
Fail. Just says fail.
Yeah, Dan, it's told Dan it's failed. On that topic, with Daniel failed, I hope you enjoyed this
There
live
you go.
stream.
It's
As
all right
always, hope you like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Pop a comments down below. And what's that, Dan? See you next time, yeah?
Yes. See you next time.
See you later.
Others talk the talk, getting nothing done. I pick up my tool. Action has begun. They're glued to their phones. I drill walls in my zone. Sorry, I'm in action. Drowning in paperwork, need something real. Proper professionals, you know the deal. Sorry, I'm in action. Had a little break, let's get back to the mission. Sorry, I'm in action. Sorry, I'm in action. Wrap it up neat, action complete. Look up and see what action achieved.